I'm 7 years old. It's a warm, sunny afternoon on the playground. The kind of day where you can just smell spring in the air. All of a sudden, I trip and fall, scraping my knees on the sharp gravel. As the pain radiates up my legs, I drag myself to standing and raise my eyes to the sky and clench my jaw, shaking, and fight with every ounce of strength in my body not to let the tears fall. My knees are of little concern. My pride is sacred. I must not show weakness. As a kid, I feel through the journal I keep and the characters I write in my stories. I have notebooks filled with them. 2 of my elementary school teachers joke that they hope I remember them someday when I'm a famous author. I'm embarrassed, but also pleased. Writing makes sense to me. Sometimes when I'm really upset, I write in my journal and then rip up the pages and throw away the pieces as if now my problems are solved. Writing about my feelings makes me small and vulnerable. Easy prey for the hurricane of emotions brewing inside of me, and I can't let evidence of that, leave it lying around. What happened? Asks my younger brother, pointing to the jagged red lines scratched haphazardly along my forearms. I tell him it was my pet rabbit, but I know this isn't true, and somehow so does my brother. He wasn't there when she grabbed me, one pale arm in each of her hands. Her hands are small since she's not much bigger than I am, but they still do damage. Her nails bite into my flesh and draw blood. I always try to keep everything in perfect order, or else I know she'll get mad. But sometimes I slip. I argue against her flawed reasoning. I forget to dust the house, or fix dinner, or make her bed. This time, though, she loses control because she starts talking about something wrong I did in the past. How could I have prepared for that? It's almost like she gets mad because I exist. I'm the oldest kid, the only girl, and I think I remind her of my real mom, who died when I was 5. I mean, she's not all bad. She's smart, charismatic, beautiful. I actually wish I could be more like her, especially when my growing teenage body draws unwanted attention. Honey, you're getting fat again. And why do you need a padded bra? I'm 14. My brother runs away at the age of 11. When he is brought home by the police, the officer stands in our doorway as my stepmom tearfully chokes out to my brother, "Why would you run away? We give you everything." We do live in a beautiful house, in a safe neighborhood. We go to a good school. But underneath it all, we're broken. We're not safe, and I don't speak up for my brother because I'd rather run away too. Slowly, I learned the lesson that emotions draw too much attention. It's survival by suppression. When I make myself small, I'm less of a target, so I try to stay under the radar. This goes on until she leaves when I'm 19. But during my teenage years, I also start to realize that I can make people laugh. Here is a brand new defense. I use chattering humor as a shield to keep people at bay. No one would ever guess that the goofy, happy-go-lucky band nerd is scared at home. I still find myself cracking jokes and being the first to speak in a conversation. This is why people often mistake me for an extrovert. I know I may seem like an extrovert, but I actually identify as an overly touchy introvert. I like people, but you all kind of tire me out. The problem with having a more extroverted persona is when you try to act more like your true self, people ask you, "What's wrong?" or "Why are you so quiet today?" Personas can be helpful, though. When I started working in sales in my early 20s, I was terrified, and it showed. "It's pretty busy today, eh?" Yeah, it is. "Pardon?" Yeah, it's busy. I guess when the weather's bad, people like shop. "Pardon?" I guess when the weather's bad, people like to shop. Okay. This is how I learned the importance of eye contact and confident body language. People say fake it till you make it, and there is some truth to this. Psychologist Amy Cuddy takes it a step further and says that you can use your body language in order to fake it till you become it. You can pretend to be powerful and end up actually feeling that way. Don't get me wrong, I was not a great salesperson. Yeah, this is way cheaper at Walmart. Totally. You should go there. Okay, have a great day. People appreciate honesty, right? The greatest confidence comes from just being yourself. But when you have a persona, how do you let it fall by the wayside? How do you trust someone enough to let them know the true you, especially after you've been hurt? Well, when it comes to dating, I'm a little hopeless and very anxious. On one date, I arrive early, and the server asks if it's just me tonight. Nope, there's someone else. I mean, if they show up. I already sound like an alien trying to imitate human laughter. I get so nervous on dates, I just blurt out the first things that come to mind. There are a lot of centipedes in my apartment. I have meibomian gland dysfunction, or MGD. It's a condition that affects the tear ducts behind my eyelids. I killed a man. No, that last one's not true, sorry. This is if I get to the actual date. Most of the time I spend online dating just means mindlessly scrolling through pictures and admiring my own profile. I always mention my cat, Tofu, because we come as a package. And I usually say something about loving goofy weirdos and wanting honest conversations about anything and everything. On my first and only online date, we go to a cozy vegetarian restaurant that serves delicious fruity smoothies and is also liquor licensed. Obviously, I have to have a smoothie and a glass of wine. My date is nice, but we're not really vibing, and my social anxiety kicks it into high gear. As the date progresses, I just let any semblance of normality go, and I pour my wine into my smoothie. Don't do that, my date exclaims. I make them try it, and we agree that it's actually okay. I mean, it's all just fruit, right? Thankfully, the right kinds of people for me appreciate my strangeness. My friends genuinely like my weird jokes, and my family tolerate them. The people I trust are truly sacred, whether it's my friend Rachel, who used to pick me up from school in her parents' GMC Safari, lovingly dubbed Monster Van, or my friend Jocelyn, who's always around to give a pep talk or lend a listening ear. These are the friends with whom I've experienced so much, including my very first real outdoor music festival. It's July 2014. I've just turned 23, and I'm a very young 23, having grown up a bit sheltered in a small city a couple hours out of Toronto. To me, Toronto has always been the big bad city, and it seems like that now. Towering skyscrapers loom overhead, and red streetcars roll along beside us, and cars, so many cars, and so much noise. The summer heat pressing in feels claustrophobic enough, but add in the chaos of a strange city, and I'm petrified. I cling to my friends for fear of being separated and never finding my way home. We arrive at Fort York and stare down across its sprawling green slopes, dotted with people like ants on a hill. And from the entrance, we can already hear music booming in the distance. Throughout the chaotic day of music and merch stalls and crowds, I remain glued to the lifeboat that is my friends. As night falls, headliner Neutral Milk Hotel takes the stage. As soon as they start playing, I'm hooked. When he speaks, singer Jeff Mangum is timid and shy. But when he breaks into song, his unusual voice swells over the crowd, and I am transfixed. Music makes him come alive. His lyrics are dark, yet hopeful. But for now, we are young. Let us lay in the sun and count every beautiful thing we can see. Comforted, I wander off into the growing darkness, pulling a blanket from my backpack as I go. I find a grassy area some distance away from the stage. I spread out my blanket, and I lie down. As the music soars over me, it doesn't matter where my friends are. I know they're nearby, and they won't be worried. Right now, it's just me, the music, and the starry summer sky. My inner voice tells me that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Afterwards, I naively ask my friend Keely if you can get high off secondhand pot smoke. She says yes, and it all makes sense now. I love my friends, I love my family, and I love the idea of someday meeting that special someone, but I've often tried too hard to find solace in others. While no one can go through this life alone, I must reconcile the fact that no one will ever love me as completely as I can love myself. Inside of me, there still lives the little girl who fell on the playground and couldn't cry, And while I must protect her at all costs, that doesn't mean stopping her tears. It means wrapping her in my arms and letting her sob and reassuring her that she is safe. I'm learning to embrace myself, embrace my introversion, my sense of humor, my curves, my past. I hope that I never punish another for how I'm feeling. Once in a while, my warped brain gets the better of me, and I retreat deeper and deeper into the recesses of my mind, where it is safe and dark and cool. And I stay there a while. Slowly, as I sit with myself, sometimes over a matter of minutes or hours or a couple days, the knot in my stomach starts to shift ever so slightly. I breathe a little easier. You see, I've been practicing feeling, this strange phenomenon in which I allow myself to simply be. I can cry, and I don't need to explain away my tears. I'll never be able to eradicate my past or my brain's desperate tricks, but in the words of Louisa May Alcott, I think we are all hopelessly flawed. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's life, that's love, and that's all we are.